El Champion Ray Wagner.
Ray's here now? Okay. All right.
What's going on, Joey?
Ray, how you doing? We're going to hopefully not have another fuck up for this show.
Should be all right.
This take three?
We got an iPhone on the case now. So
We got an iPhone, yeah. Better than my cheap-ass Android. That wasn't that cheap. But there's no bad boy jersey, Eddie. Sorry. The national champions are still main event. Just like Jamie was talking about just now, there's a lot of reasons why it can't happen and why it won't and why it shouldn't. But at the same time, I can see the itch and desire amongst guys to make it happen because there is a lot to prove right now. Like, I felt like what the Bad Boys did this weekend was an awesome achievement. And it wasn't just they beat main event. It wasn't just that. This is a team that held Rampage, Dream, and the Maryland Titans to a combined 12 points in 3. People are ignoring that right now.
Yeah, our defense balled on Sunday.
Yeah, and people also are ignoring the fact that after falling behind 10-0, they only gave up 10 points the rest of the way to main event. You take away that bad start, this is a team that only surrendered a total of 22 points. Overall, 32 was what it was by the end of the weekend. 20 by main event, 12 by everybody else. That just puts in perspective this A-B split and how much difference it could really be. I don't know. Ray, you've only been in the game for 2 years so far for 9-man at least. Football-wise, you'd probably go back a lot longer than that. But what is your perspective so far, having played with Baez, Otto, and B, and A, having played with the Bad Boys in B and in open tournaments, and we actually showed yesterday your debut with Gusto Land against the Scorpions back at Clash of York too, which at the time the Scorpions were the hottest team in the region.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, the biggest difference probably between A and B is two things. It's depth and the trenches. You know, I think, like, personally with Bad Boys and when I was playing with Baez, both the teams, we had the skill guys to play A, for sure. It was just the big guys and then the rotation that you needed to compete with these teams that show up with 30 dudes out there.
I agree with that. You know, we saw that with the Baez Auto main event game first last year back at Charm City Classic. Early on, Baez did struggle the first 2 drives where they weren't moving the ball, and you had Stokes on like a 70-yard touchdown pass to blow the game wide open. And
yeah.
I remember being on main event sideline, and they were a little startled. They didn't expect that to happen right out the gate like that.
Yeah, I think.
But that's the thing is you don't know who you're going to face.
Right.
From one week to the next in the B bracket. And A has long been facing the same competition. I'm sorry, man.
That main event game, now you're good. I think that main event game when I was with Baez, we were trying to do too much stuff downfield, and then I realized that their defensive line was just super tough. So we had to start getting rid of the ball real quick and just letting the athletes do what they do. And that's pretty much what we do. What I do with Bad Boys now is I try to keep it simple, you know, just get the ball in people's hands, let them do what they do, and then once that defense starts coming down, then we'll take our shots. But I try not to take too many shots. Sometimes I get a little carried away with it, but you know, just get the ball in the guy's hands and make somebody pull a flag.
I think that's honestly something that you've done a lot better with is to take your shots down the field and taking less risks and relying on the guy's skill set. And yeah. I've seen it like day one, you were already there. Like then people will say Scorpions Saturday game it meant nothing. They weren't really prepared. Proctor may not have been there. But you can go back and watch the potential. Like go back to the plays where you can see Ray in the backfield scanning the defense, seeing what's open, finding the guys to throw to. And 31 points later, and Gusto Land was number 1 seed entering Sunday.
Yeah.
You go back later on with what you did at Ocean City and the performance that you had with Baez Auto in that tournament. Going out there and putting up more points on Riot Squad than what X-Dogs and Blackhawks did the day prior by at least 3 times the margin. Then coming out there, dueling brick squad to the end, falling short with Rampage though, but that was just a growing step towards greatness that came at Charm City. You go back to that performance, going out there dueling Mike D for the first time. And I got to say, 2 games into this, it's 1-1, but the point difference is 48-47 in favor of Mike. And yet, the difference is that missed extra point at the end of Sunday's game.
Yeah.
That's how close it is.
We had 2 real good games. They were there. I like playing against Mike. I like playing against main event. I always want to try to play the best teams.
And I believe that's where a lot of players are coming from now.
Yeah.
You know, there's always been like that philosophy in 9-man. You know, you yourself, Rolf, you were building the Warriors. You know it. It's you don't want to go all in immediately. You want to learn the game, grow in it, and then once you're ready to travel, and then build from B to A. But I think a lot of the competitors now are ready to just compete. You know, your background, Ray. You played, I believe, arena ball before.
Yeah.
Where did you play at in high school? And did you play high school, college ball? I imagine.
Yeah, I'm from Harrisburg. I played high school ball at Susquehanna Township, and then I played college at East Stroudsburg, and then I played in Europe for 3 years, and then arena ball 3 years after that.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Terrell Barnes and Howard are actually the 2 dudes that got me in the flag. Howard, actually, the first flag tournament I ever played was the Blick. I think it was 3 years ago now. Right before I played in the Clash of York, Barnes hit me up and got me out there to play the Blick. And I knew nothing about flag football at the time. And I went out there and played that tournament and saw like the environment and how dudes actually took it seriously. And I was like, yeah, I could definitely play this. This is fun.
And for those who don't know, Blick is the 8-man YAFFL style played on a full-sized field. Very fun tournament. I went out there a couple years ago. A couple questions in the chat from Mr. Mike D. Ray. He's asking if you play any other styles in flag, and he asked how old you were.
I'm 33, and I mean, football is football. I'll play any style, you know. I played in the 8-man league down in York, and I played in a 5-man league in like the Harrisburg area with like some friends of mine, and played one 5-man tournament that we won. But I mean, football is football. I prefer 9-man. That's my favorite style.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed 100% on that.
It's like the closest to real football to me. You know, 8-man, they release the linemen and all that, and I mean, it's just a different. The quarterback sometimes like the Blick when we beat Future of Retro or something like that in the Blick
Future of the
last
Retro
year.
Invaders, 8-man team out of Virginia.
But our quarterback was like 18 yards deep in shotgun and just caught it, and then all the linemen released right away.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm playing with Baez, and I had like a 9-man line. You know, I had like the actual Baez line, and I didn't release anybody.
And I remember watching Baez, the Future of the Retro, and just thinking, this is such a bizarre clash of philosophies. Because it was Baez running up like a borderline 9-man offense. And then you got FOTR running their FFWCT style 8-man attack. And
it was different.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's in a game where it's kind of a mix in the middle. Because, you know, York, they used a 3-down lineman.
Right.
But the guards can go out for 5 yards, I believe, to catch.
They can go anywhere. So can the center.
Oh, so they can go deep. Okay. Usually I see a lot of guards on shorter routes. That's how I was interpreting. Okay.
Yeah. And the York League, everybody's eligible. Everybody has flags, which is, I mean, that's fine. But I like 9-man.
9-man has been my love and joy since 1997. You saw that video early on we showed on the page. That's the 9-man I remember as a kid. A lot more like the tackle style. You had running the ball. There was a lot of downfield blocking. 5-down lineman sets were being used frequently.
Yeah.
The style we got now, I feel like is more akin to what you see in both college and the pros now. The spread attack has been more prominent. You don't see as many under center players anymore. And you also see a lot more guys out there in the shotgun 3, 4, 5 wide receiver sets.
Mm-hmm.
Couple questions in the chat once again. Skinny wants to know, how do you feel about opening nationals up to one bracket?
Me personally, I'm fine with it. Like I said earlier, I like playing the best teams, and I think our Bad Boys team is our offense, especially. Like I think we can play with anybody. And don't get me wrong, the way our defense plays Sunday, we can definitely play with anybody. It's just, like I said, it's just the depth and making sure you got guys out there where you can get a rotation on the defensive line and the offensive line. Yeah, I'd be fine with an open bracket. I want to play everybody and anybody.
Just do it.
I mean, I'm in the same mentality. Don't get me wrong. I get what JD was saying earlier, but you know what? If this one nationals, if everybody's on board with it, and we're just all in the mood, I mentioned in the chat early on, 36 teams cut down to 24 for Sunday. Suddenly, you got to play a full season in a weekend to win a tournament, which gives you that league-like feel of a mix of A and B competition. But also, it's a gauntlet to the finish.
I mean, it's football. Anybody can win a single game. Like this last weekend in D.C., I remember, I don't know what the team – it was a couple teams I heard. There was dudes just saying, like, well, we're pretty much all out here playing for second place, because main event was out there. And I'm like, why? They got to still play football, tip pass here, drop pass here. The game can turn quickly.
More guys need this mentality.
Yeah. 100%.
You don't know how many teams I've been on where I've had guys just look on the other side and say, look at the all-stars they got and what we got. I'm like, man, who cares?
Why you not get in the car and fucking driving here, man?
Yeah,
they're on the same field as us right now, so we got as good a chance as they do. I say that most of the time, some teams that I played on the circuit, they wouldn't like the open tournament. I know that.
I agree with, trust me, I do believe that there are divisions to this, and we've seen like matchups even in the B division where there's been blowouts.
Yeah.
Bad Boys, you guys went through a tear at Charm City, and even in this tournament, your last two tournaments, there hasn't been many teams close to you. In fact, the only teams that have been within striking distance on Sunday were TMU and Main Event, the two teams
and
that have been in the championship.
TMU was a solid team. That was a good-ass game. And I think, didn't they just play in the championship in the last tournament up in Rhode Island?
Sure, at Rhode Island last weekend. An interception in the back of the end zone prevented a win. They were that close to upsetting the Lions in their home area.
They were a solid team. Like, teams like that, like, they can compete against anybody on any day.
I fully believe that myself. Like, I've gotten to watch TMU play. They're a scrappy bunch. They're going to go out there and play. They don't care who the opponent is.
Mm-hmm. I know it's excuse me, talking to the dudes on our team, but the Bad Boys, we got the same mentality. Just play ball. We can play with anybody. Line up. You gotta get the job done. That's all it is.
And that's what I feel like a lot of more teams need, is that mentality of just play ball. Like, Ross, you talked about it when you had the Warriors back in the day. You guys never backed down to anybody, no matter who it was. You guys played AFN very close in a Washington County League game when AFN had a lot of their guys that time. You go back to ADR as well. ADR, when they were playing the A circuit, you were having guys who were rec-level players going out there and almost knocking them off in a playoff game. Any given Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, you live by that. Ray lives by that. I live by that. Yeah. I felt that way since I started in 9-man.
The more the team has that mentality, the better off everybody is.
And that's the problem, is you get too many guys who are scared, who look at someone and go, wow, look at him. Like, what's it?
Yeah, I don't get that. But I mean, you get a lot of these guys that play on like different teams at tournaments and stuff too. Like if Baez still wanted me to be playing with Baez, I probably would have never left them. They hit me up and said they were going with another quarterback last year, so that's when I was like, all right, I'll go somewhere else. I have no plans to leave Bad Boys at all because I just want to play ball. I don't care who I play with, and they brought me on, and we got a good thing going. So
we said it a year ago on the show. What a perfect marriage!
Yeah.
Like the one thing Bad Boys had been missing. And then,
yeah.
Ray, you go on a team that has all the support you need right there and then.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we got our rotation of receivers. We got 8 guys that can go out there, and it doesn't matter who has anybody can get the ball. All I did, I brought Kirk Peters. Me and him graduated high school together. He was my receiver in high school. So I just told Bad Boys, I was like, I got him and Barnes because I played against Barnes in high school and college, and then with him in arena football. So I was like, I got 2 receivers I'm bringing with me, and that's about it.
I'll be honest, Kirk has been impressive to watch. Like I go back to when he first came on the scene with you at Baez last year, and I get back. The biggest thing was that whole Sunday at Ocean City, he had a big performance against Main Event. He had about 7 catches. I want to say 2 touchdowns. Huh?
You talking about Kirk?
Yeah.
Kirk's first time playing was in Charm City last year with Baez. He didn't play Ocean City.
I thought he may have played. Okay, maybe I'm just remembering.
No,
okay.
We had Barnes out there in Ocean City, but I brought Kirk on. He played Charm last year. It was the first tournament he did.
You know what? I might be crossing the dream game with OC for some reason in my head. Yeah, that first dream game on Saturdays. I covered both of those games.
Yeah.
And my memory, yeah. I remember Kirk coming onto the scene and just not being sure what his name was or who he was at first. Mm-hmm. But he was just destroying everybody, like, in sight. Nobody knew how to guard him.
He's an athlete. He hasn't – I don't think he played – after high school, he played college basketball. He didn't even play football in college. He's a basketball player. He's just an athlete.
And honestly, you kind of need a basketball player on this level of flag football. Think about the cardio and conditioning and how different it is. Like, you'd be able to go out there and be able to run like that. Because flag football, when you think about it, is basketball on grass more so at times. It can be football, but there is a lot of basketball elements to it, a lot of fast-moving pieces.
Yeah, that's a stretch, bro.
Yeah, I don't think. Hear me out on it. Hear me out. More so in the smaller styles, like 5-man and everything else. But you do see a lot of teams come out there and try to move at a quicker tempo and pace.
Right.
There's a lot to explain. But anyways.
Maybe 5-man, I'll agree with that, but that's about it.
Speaking of 5-man, Mike D recommends 5-man non-contact because they're going to be using that for the Olympics in a couple of years. If you're interested in trying to get into the Olympics.
It's football. I'll play it.
Imagine that, like turning on NBC and seeing Ray Wagner right there for Team USA
Shit,
in the first Olympics in 2028.
I might be a little too old for that now. 2028?
That's what it's going to be. Yeah, they're going to do it in LA at 2028 flag football.
I'm going to be 39 by then, man. I don't know. My arm.
Mike's 41. He's still playing non-contact
from this weekend.
Doc's 57. He still plays.
Hey, good for them.
John McGraw over at York, he's like 60 years old. He was playing for Jungle Boys back at 8s a few months ago.
Yeah. Hey, if I can still throw, if I can go out there and still play, I'll play as long as I can.
We're the generation where age is just a number when it comes to athletic ability. With Tom Brady, LeBron James, all the other athletes in professional sports, you have the longevity. Like, we're in a rare generation of talent that arguably has the longest longevity of any other sporting generation.
Yeah.
Let's see what else is here in the comments.
I can't even see the comments.
You already answered that one question. I'll move on here. Scrolling down. I don't think I see. I'll keep going. Neutral Rich said, okay, he already said something about the Blick story, but you already talked about Blick a couple of weeks earlier on, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Going over it. I'm catching up from earlier, from what everybody was saying, I kind of stopped there for a moment to see what was going on. Too much talking. You guys did do too much talking. I can't even keep up in this chat. Feb, who's the best quarterback in the DMV right now? Well, if we're talking DMV teams, it's this guy on the Bad Boys. Now, that being said, he's from Pennsylvania, so he's not DMV. Otherwise, if I were to say who the best quarterback in this particular region is, if I was talking flag football overall, I still stand by my choice of Chris Boone because of what Chris Boone has done in just 9-man and all other stops been in. That's a man who was on CBS last year playing for a championship.
From what I've seen, I don't know all the teams that are in the DMV in those areas. The dude for the Scorpions is nice. I think he can be all right. He's going to be real good. Yeah, I like him. Actually, who surprised me a lot was when we played Southside. I like their quarterback. I thought he threw a good ball.
I don't have his name on hand, but like I hear he's putting numbers up in math. I haven't had a chance to cover much Southside yet, but that's the team I want to do.
I went down for the playoffs for Bad Boys a couple weeks ago, and saw a couple of the teams. But other than that, I really don't know a whole lot of the teams. I just show up and play. But from what I've seen, the Scorpions quarterback's nice. Boone gets the job done.
Chris Price is still one to nominate. Chris Price.
Rampage is quarterback.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, he's from PA, but he does play for a team in this region.
I don't know where.
A lot of good PA quarterbacks when you think about it.
In Charm on Saturday, we lost to the Mercenaries, and I have no idea who that quarterback was, but he was fast as shit. I don't know what his name is, but that man, he was so fast. He was the reason we lost that game on Saturday. They got first of all, they got 2 onside kicks, which was crazy. I've never seen that before. Yeah, but it was like 4th and 10, and he took off. 4th and 10, and he took off for like 60 or 70 on us.
That was the team that they were almost close to beating TMU as well in that Sweet 16 matchup in Charm. You could have been a rematch on Sunday in that quarterfinals.
Oh, and Tay too, obviously.
Tay's a good choice, yeah.
Yeah,
I've watched him.
Crazy.
I've watched him grow up as a quarterback in
9-man. If I could run like that, I'd add a whole new element to my game.
That run you had the other day blew my mind. I could not believe you had those kind of wheels. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen you backpedal fast before, but I never seen you take off like that.
I'm not like I can run the ball if I have to. I'm not fast by any means, but I can run if I have to. I just prefer not to. And when I got Eddie and Lil and Willie and all them, Kyrie out there running around, just get them the ball and let them do all the running.
And I don't blame you because, like, when you have those kind of weapons around you, the matchups are always there. Yeah. And it's just a matter of timing every pass, every route, every play properly.
That's all it is. I watch a lot of these flag teams, and I see the quarterbacks, like, running around in the backfield a lot and holding the ball. And I'm like, man, you had that out on the break right away or that slant right away. Just get on the ball and let them go. Make somebody pull a flag. One missed flag, and it could be a 40, 50-yard touchdown.
One of the most underrated parts of flag football is flag point.
And also route running. Route running is important, too.
Yeah, and we got 8 guys that can run routes, too, and catch the ball.
It's a loaded team right now. Like, this Bad Boy squad has a lot of momentum. And I was doing a rankings for the year based on achievement. The only problem was time does not exist for me to fully get around to finishing that. But when I last checked it about a month ago, Bad Boys were sitting in the top 5, only down by about 5 points from first place. If I were to guess, they'd be at first place right now because of what this team has done all year. You take a look at the resume. Ocean City beat bracket runner-up, only a 6-point loss to PME. They were runner-up as well at OMFFL, the loss of the Scorpions. I think that I wasn't there for that one, so I didn't get a chance to see it.
We lost that one 19-12.
Another close
dude made a crazy one-handed pick on me. I tried to throw a deep ball to Eddie, and he made a hell of a pick. We were driving at the end of the game, and he just one-handed snagged it. I was like, I can't be mad at that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Charm City, you guys went out there, 1B bracket, dominated that whole day. Only real team to compete, like we said, TMU. That was a tie ball game with 5 minutes to go. And they only had 14 too. That's the scary part about that team. Like, it doesn't matter what numbers they got, as long as they got their guys ready to go and ready to play, they're set.
I think that's the only tournament. The Baltimore tournament's really the only one that we had depth. We had a lot of guys at. Like, even this past weekend, Saturday we were short. Sunday I think we finished with 22 guys, which I guess 22 is a good number. But Baltimore, we were out there with a lot of guys and had to rotate. And I think that's why we played so well on Sunday, was because we had a 7 receiver rotation. We had like 7, 8 DBs that were able to rotate, so nobody was gassed, and it showed.
And the thing about it is, so, like, that's the thing. This is a really deep team that didn't really have everybody this past weekend. You guys
we were missing a lot of
about
guys.
20 total, I believe, correct?
It was something like that, 20, 22, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, like, this wasn't a full-blown 35-man bad boy squad that went up against a light main event. This was 2 teams that were relatively even in numbers. They had a lot of key personnel on both sides. And at the end of the day, the main difference at the end was the fact that you all persevered through a 10-0 deficit, fought back, never gave up, and rose to the occasion, where a lot of teams who would have fallen behind that early the main event like that would have folded at the base of the name itself.
And like nothing against Rampage, because I think they're a hell of a team. Obviously, they beat me in the chip last year when I was with Boyz, but once we beat main event, it didn't matter who we played in that chip. We knew we were winning the game.
Absolute facts. And, like, you guys ran through that was 20-0, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
20-0 there, 17-0 on Titans, 28-12 on Dream. You take a look at those 3 games outside of the main event game, that is a result of 65-12 in 3 games against competition.
Yeesh.
Shout out to the defense.
Yeah, rose to the occasion. Shout out to the offensive line. Did main event get a sack on you at all in that game?
I don't think so.
That's crazy to think about. If we looked at how deep that main event line was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't take too many sacks, so I'm usually getting rid of the ball pretty quick. But yeah, the O-line, I mean, for that defensive line that they were going against, they did a hell of a job. They balled. And then we brought Zach down. He played tight end Sunday, and he was a big difference maker too.
And, like, that's the thing about it. When you take a look at what this team did, the potential is there going into the Nationals. But there's one roadblock that has been in their way. And not just their way, it got in the Rays' way, I believe, last year. The St. Louis Spartans.
Oh, yeah.
The Atlanta champions.
I definitely won't play them again. I don't think I played a very good game that game, but I mean, I got on with bad boys at Nationals last year. So Carlton played pretty much the first 3 games, most of the games, because I had no timing with the receivers. I didn't know who could do what, And yeah, I definitely won't play Spartans again, because I think with the way we're playing right now, I have a much better feel for the offense and everything. So I think it'd be a hell of a game.
I think it's going to be a battle if we do see that again. No. But, like,
and I mean, even like down there in Florida, when Carlton play, Carlton can play. He's a baller too. It's not like they needed me at quarterback. They had a guy that could do the same thing.
Carlton to this day, still had one of the best game plans I ever watched when they beat the Misfits at Clash of York last year.
Yeah.
They played a perfect game. Like I've never seen a team play a more perfect game than what Carlton and the Bad Boys did on offense in that game.
Yeah.
They played small ball, relatively speaking. I think Misfits maybe had about 5 drives total, but they didn't commit any turnovers. They executed every play properly, and at the end of the day, they outscored them. And that was the thing that mattered the most, was getting the points, getting the stops. And if I ever were to go back and show film of what a great fundamental flag football win looks like, it's that game.
Yeah.
You okay over there?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw that game, but I definitely believe it.
I recommend it if you ever get time. That's actually a really good game and a really good study in how to play smart football, shut down a team that is more on terms of numbers and more on terms of what they had in personnel. Like the Bad Boys at that time were going through a rough patch where the offense was non-existent for the most part, and it was affecting the team as a whole. And Misfits came in locked and loaded. They were ready to go. They were a 1 seed, and I'll give it to Carlton. He had a perfect game plan on terms of what he did at that quarterback position, and on terms of execution for everybody else across the board. That was an excellent, excellent game. And as I say, that's something you got to study if you are ever trying to learn what a perfect flag football game looks like.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Strong recommendation.
I will do that.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what this franchise does going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited for Nationals, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we got a good group going down there, and I think we got a chance for sure.
And I actually think you got a chance as well. You know what? I'm going to see if I can pull up a photo on my end of what the teams are right now. B Nationals is looking really stacked. Mentioned the Bad Boys, not just the Bad Boys, but Rampage, who we saw this past week at the Chip. They're going to be down there as well. Maryland Venom, Elite Rebels, Maryland Titans, No Mercy, Misfits.
Elite Rebels, I thought they were A.
Who's that?
I thought Elite Rebels were A.
They are coming down to B bracket for this one. They did make a change of quarterback. We talked about it. Ray Shields stepping in. Yeah, so we'll see. It is a bit of a different dynamic. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully after National, because I told Mike and Dave when I got on Bad Boys, I was like, I definitely want to start playing A. So hopefully after Nationals this year, that's the plan, is Bad Boys will be playing A.
I hope so as well, because I think that is a step that this team is ready to take. Mentioned Elite Rebels, Maryland Titans, of course. No Mercy coming down to play in B. Misfits will be playing B for this one as well. Rideout will be playing in B. Dream, Team Petty, as mentioned, the St. Louis Spartans, who for a couple guys on that Bad Boys team, particularly the Renegades crew, that's been their kryptonite for the last 2 Nationals. Go Mode, that's a St. Louis team. Another St. Louis team, the Pack, they're coming over. They were the B bracket runner-up in 2018. Yes. Show Me Football coming over from St. Louis.
That's another thing I like about Nationals, is you get to play different teams.
That I agree. Yeah, 100%. That's why that's the beauty of it. You go down to a beautiful city. You get to play football at a great facility. And on top of that, it's against guys that you'll never, ever get a chance to see anywhere else but there.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Long Island Ducks, Dark Side, TBD, Massachusetts Titans, the TMU, as we mentioned, Nomads, Rhode Island Spartans, 148 Outlaws, Bahamas Predators, Bahamas Lions. So 2 Bahamas teams making the trip this time around. 717 Elite, OTG Alabama, which I think that was what was that Alabama team that was down national? Birmingham Heat. I want to say they might be connected to Birmingham Heat. Whalers out of Connecticut. They were just in Rhode Island. And No Excuses, who made a run last year all the way to the Final Four. Remember, No Excuses knocked off Rampage in the quarterfinals last year at Nationals. So that's a team to look out for as well. They can sneak up on you. They've been a contender down there in the South Florida Flag Football Association.
Okay.
A lot of good teams that
Yeah,
are
I'm
going to
definitely
be. Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great tournament. And honestly, if it ends up being an open bracket, Ray, here's who else you could see. You could see the main event. You could see the Rhode Island Lions. You could see the Punishers. You could see the Rollers. You could see the Scorpions. You could see PME. You could see your old friends at Baez Auto. Or you could see the NTB Wolfpack. Imagine all of that together in one bracket.
I like it.
That's March Madness, but January.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
You don't gotta win 5 games on Sunday.
I think so. Yeah, if you allow 5 games on Sunday, 3 on Saturday or Friday too.
Man, them Sundays be killing me.
That's
having to
about
win
it. You know,
4 or 5 games.
And that's the thing. A lot of A teams don't ever play that many games on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Typically, at the A bracket, you're playing maybe 2 to 3 at most. Imagine a challenge of an open tournament where you got 36 teams potentially, maybe 24 make Sunday, and then you got to play 4 to 5 to win it all on Sunday, depending on how you do Friday and Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And with competition this stacked.
And that's where the depth comes in. That's where you need to have 30 guys out there on Sunday to be able to get the job done.
And that's the thing. I feel like that's going to be the hard part for a lot of these teams because, you know, Jamie talked about it. Travel is more than what it is now. It's going to be a harder trip to make down to Florida this time for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you want it, get it. We're all about the best of the best going out to play the best.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a good time down there. Like, I know a lot of the guys go down with their families and make like a vacation out of it. So.
And that's the thing too. Like, you know, nationals, it's intended to be fun too. You can go out there, go hit up Disney about an hour away, go to Universal. You can get a beach house somewhere near, or not a beach house, but like one of those houses to stay at nearby. There's a lot to do. You could go play in other styles up the road if you feel like doing that. You know, I believe it was Ryan Jones who told me on Blunt Talk 2 years ago, your teammate on Bad Boys. He played 27 games one weekend at Nationals.
Yeah, I can't do that. Ain't no way. My arm would be done for the rest of the year. But Orion's young too. He's only like, I think he told me this weekend he's only like 25, so he can still do that.
It's crazy how gifted he is and how talented he is. That catch he had in the back of the end zone is the catch.
Yeah, that was a hell of a catch, and they thought he didn't catch it. He definitely caught that.
And I was very thankful that I changed positions and moved down to the end zone for that shot because I had the best view you could possibly get of the feet hitting it.
Yeah, you got the best look at it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, Joey, I'm about to get going. I gotta take this dog out before I get to bed, man.
Yeah, I gotta do the same thing a little bit later on.
All right, man. I appreciate you having me.
All right, Ray. Thanks for coming on.
Talk to y'all later.
Talk to you later, Ray.